What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. Past behavior is always the predictor of future behavior. Yet, as African people, these laws are supposed to disappear when it comes to us. We're never supposed to get the Holocaust, but we're supposed to get over slavery. White people can still be the same demon and oppressive entity upon us that they've been since 1431, but we're supposed to believe everything has changed. It is time that we take control of what we already have, and that is our own sovereign power as individuals and as a collective. This information is pertinent right now, and I decided to move it to top of mind because we're facing this right now, essentially. I will tell you that there will be more than one part to this video, because when this thing cuts me off, I'm just going to continue another part. If you don't watch it, then you just don't watch it. Now, we know about Ebola. We know about Tuskegee. We know about AIDS. We can keep going down the list, and this is one of the things on the list. Army scientists secretly sprayed St. Louis with radioactive particles for years to test chemical warfare technology. And of course, there's some pictures here. Now, this is from the Daily Mail. All right. The United States military conducted top secret experiments on the citizens of St. Louis, Missouri for years, exposing them to radioactive compounds, a researcher has claimed. By the way, this is from 29th September 2012. While it was known to the government, while it was known that the government sprayed harmless zinc cadmium sulfide particles over the general population in St. Louis, Professor Lisa Martino Taylor, a sociologist at St. Louis Community College, claims that a radioactive additive was also mixed with the compound. She has accrued detailed descriptions as well as photographs of the spraying, which exposed the unwitting public, predominantly in low-income and Black communities, to radioactive particles. We're not going to use this word minority bullshit, because we're not a minority. There's more of us on the damn earth than white people and everybody else, quite frankly. But again, we also don't use words that don't reveal the truth. So that was predominantly in low-income Black communities to radioactive particles. Scroll down for video, but we're going to continue to read. And then this is the spraying. It says, well, let me read the main article first, because the study was, let me see if I can get y'all a little something. Wait now. I'm trying to be fancy. The study was secretive for reason. That's a typo. The study was secretive for reason. They didn't have volunteers stepping up and saying, yeah, I'll breathe zinc cadmium sulfide with radioactive particles, end quote, said Professor Martino Taylor to KSDK. Through her research, she found photographs of how the particles were distributed from 1953 to 1954 and 1963 to 1965. So that's 53 to 65. In Corpus Christi, the chemical was dropped from airplanes over large swaths of city. In St. Louis, the Army put chemical sprayers on buildings like schools and public housing projects and mounted them in the station wagons for mobile use. Wait, no. Bitch, you better scroll. Despite the extent of the experiment, local politicians were not notified about the content of the testing. Who believes that? There's always white collusion, white allegiance, everybody. Of course they knew. All right. The people of St. Louis were told that the Army was testing smoke screens to protect cities from a Russian attack. It was pretty shocking, the level of duplicity and secrecy. Clearly, they went to great lengths to deceive people, Professor Taylor said. She accrued hundreds of pages of declassified information, which she has made available online. In her research, she found that the greatest concentration of spraying in St. Louis was at the Pruitt Ego Public Housing Complex, which was home to 10,000 black residents. She said that 70% of those students were children under the age of 12. Professor Taylor became interested in the topic after hearing independent reports of cancers among city residents living in those areas at the time. This was a violation of all medical ethics, all international codes, and the military's own policy at that time. But they always break the rules and make up new ones when it comes to us. You understand what I'm telling you? And this is just one little slither, everybody. You understand? This is the damn it. This is the devil we're dealing with. And hold up, y'all. Okay. And yet we can't get reparations. You know, Joe Biden's first day in office, like first day, he was signing some transgender bullshit. I mean, I'm just over it. By the way, if you're watching this and you didn't see my previous video before this of the African leaders, it's a mashup of African leaders all declaring what I've declared to you since you've known me, and that is that homosexuality is anti-African. Damn it, it just is. It's not something that's a part of our culture. Or as my brothers would say, al-culture. So we have some consent. But anyway, so we have to start demanding our shit, everybody. You know, you don't get anything without a demand. You have to be over this nice and non-violent and forgiving, and all that shit has gotten you nowhere, and it never will. And this article is being a lot of problems right now, but we're gonna get through it, inshallah. Let's see, where were we? What did it say? This was a violation of all medical ethics, all international codes, and the military's own policy. You understand? So we have to break some rules. You understand? We have to make up our own, indeed. That's what we have to do. Have to make up our own rules. There's a lot of evidence that shows people in St. Louis and the city, in particular, black commuters or communities, were subject to military testing that was connected to a large radiological weapons testing project. This is why we will never trust white people and their government. Them and their government. You understand? We don't need to. And indeed, it would be psychotic to do so. Psychotic. Nobody ever turns around and gives trust to someone who has shown for 500 years nothing but an intent to destroy you. You understand what I'm telling you? So we can never ever accept anything from them, because they have and they continue to murder off our people, and we're not helping them out with that. Previous investigations of the compound were rebuffed by the military. Just a second. Did I miss something? Radiological weapons cells were connected to a larger. Okay. Previous investigations of the compound were rebuffed by the military, which insisted it was safe. Of course, they'll say that. Of course. It's radioactive, but it's safe. Come on, dude. However, Professor Taylor believes the documents were uncovered. Believes the documents she's uncovered prove the zinc cadmium sulfide was also mixed with radioactive particles. She has linked the St. Louis testing to a now defunct company called U.S. Radium. The controversial company came under fire and numerous lawsuits after several of its workers were exposed to dangerous levels of radioactive materials in its fluorescent plant, or in its fluorescent paint. And then these are some receipts of the spraying. There's, I presume, the housing project. We're not going to read these little bylines right now because we're trying to move through the information. All right. U.S. Radium had this reputation where they had been found legally liable for producing a radioactive powder paint that killed many young women who painted fluorescent watch tiles, said Professor Taylor. In her findings, one of the compounds that was sprayed upon the public was called, it's a number, according to the Army's documents, and was manufactured by U.S. Radium. The compound, also known as radium-226, was the same one that killed and sickened many of the U.S. radium workers. The Army has admitted that it added a fluorescent substance to the harmless compound, but whether or not the additive was radioactive remains classified. You know, I mean, I can't, dude. You know, this is the same shit we're going through now. You know, if you trying to sell me some shit, if you're just gonna serve me a sandwich, you need to eat. You need to take a bite first. You understand? Professor Taylor has not been able to find if the Army ever followed up on the long-term health of the residents exposed to the compound in 1972. The government destroyed the Pruitt Ego houses. Upon learning of the professor's findings, Missouri lawmakers called on the Army to detail the tests. I quote, "I share and understand the renewed anxiety of members of the St. Louis communities that were exposed to the spraying of the chemicals as part of Army testing during the Cold War," Senator Claire McCaskill, that bitch is up on Capitol Hill right now, wrote to the Army Secretary John McHugh. You see what I'm saying? These same evil ass people I've told you have been up there for many decades doing the same shit. The same shit. The same shit. Claire McCaskill's bitch ass. Another one who stood in the way of Bernard Sanders being president of this bitch. Hope that bitch has a head-on accident. The impacted communities were not informed of the tests at the time and are reasonably anxious about the long-term health impacts the tests may have had on those exposed to the airborne chemicals. Senator Roy Blunt called the findings absolutely shocking. White people should never use that word. They shouldn't use it because it's fake. You only exclaim shock when you had no knowledge and you are innocent. The idea that thousands of Missourians were unwillingly exposed to harmful materials in order to determine their health effects is absolutely shocking. Should come as no surprise to these individuals, and their families are demanding answers of government officials, Senator Blunt said. Come on now. Is there more? Anyways, the fact of the matter is, everybody, is we are over white people and their government using African people as guinea pigs. You understand? They always do the shit in secret, and they will look you right in the face with a poison and tell you that it's safe. You know, we saw our brothers and sisters on the continent, you know, back when they were trying to go there and give them Ebola. I brought you the stories and the videos back on my old channel where they literally physically beat the shit out of UN workers coming in there, talking about they're there to vaccinate them against Ebola. You understand? It was a glorious thing to see. And what did white America send? They sent military. What did Cuba send? Doctors and scientists and professionals and shit. You see what I'm saying? The only way this devil knows how to deal with anything is through violence, because they're the only savage on the earth. The only murdering, genocidal savage on the earth. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody. Nobody. Wait. These people do not care about our lives. You understand? And instead of us screaming that Black Lives Matter, you need to show them that when you touch a Black life, yours ends. Then they'll realize, oh, their life matters, and they will defend it. You understand? You can always show better than you can tell, especially when you're dealing with a demon who is not capable of hearing. We'll just look at a second one here. The U.S. government secretly tested weapons on the citizens of St. Louis. This is from historycollection.com. Those are the Ego housing projects, the Pruitt Ego housing project. None of the residents nor the authorities of St. Louis, nor those of Missouri, nor the health authorities, nor the Congress were notified of the test. Come on, who believes that? All these devils were in fucking collusion. But interesting that they open up. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. No? They open up. Well, they didn't know. This is right up there with after the police have murdered one of our people. They claim, well, they need training, like immediately trying to offer some fucking way out, and we're not going for that, dude. They all knew. They knew because we say they knew. We got to start making proclamations and meaning that. You understand? So we say they knew. Army record data indicate that some of the substances traveled upwards of 40 miles carried by the prevailing winds. I don't believe that. I think it was just on our shit. They trying to make it seem like it wasn't just the black people. No. The Army conducted their, and at the very least, we know what their intent was. So that's what matters. The Army conducted their experiments a second time from 1963 to 1965 in comparable secrecy. Army officials reiterated that the compound being sprayed, zinc cadmium sulfide, was harmless without acknowledging the additional FP226. By the 1990s, evidence of abnormal incidents of several types of cancer among former residents of the area involved, including the Pruitt-Eagle housing complex, drew the attention of researchers and forensic specialists. The Army denied that any of the materials sprayed as part of the chemical weapons research were toxic and resisted congressional inquiries. Forget a congressional inquiry, bitch. A criminal arrest. These people always do high crimes and fucking treason, and they get a congressional inquest and shit. No, your bitch ass needs to go to jail, to the death penalty. I'm over it. Since the tests were conducted, several links have been established, though not definitively proved, between zinc, cadmium, and varying forms of cancer. The distribution of potentially radioactive and carcinogenic material is only part of the troubles left over from the Army's testing on unknowing subjects. Growing anecdotal evidence links zinc cadmium sulfide to chronic lung and respiratory ailments such as COPD. As of 2012, the official position of the U.S. Army remains that no harmful materials were, in other words, they still lying, and there we see the picture of the buildings being destroyed. But it wasn't just those. Remember, it's just over the black population in St. Louis in general. You understand? The Pruitt-Eagle housing project was abandoned by the early 1970s and destroyed by demolition over the course of several years. By late 1976, it was gone. In April 2016, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers made news when it dropped the former site of Pruitt-Eagle from consideration as a home for the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency Western Headquarters Complex. The Corps of Engineers did not cite a specific reason for the dropping the site from the consideration, despite previous reports of it, despite reporting favorably on it. Fuck it. Local authorities claimed that some support from officials with the NGA that the site was dropped from consideration because of the presence of toxic materials. This is in 2016. You see? The shit is, because remember, when shit is radioactive, it's radioactive forever. Toxic materials contaminating the site. While some of those toxins are undoubtedly asbestos and lead, persistent reports of radioactivity appear in local media and government discussions of the site. Well, why would read on? Army records of the St. Louis testing formalized as part of Operation LAC for large area coverage. The Army name for their testing remained classified as of 2017. Whether or not the Army had knowledge then or now that it was spreading toxic radioactive material over a wide swath of Midwest remains hidden behind the screens of national security, despite it taking place more than 60 years ago. What is undisputed is that the Army conducted experiments on unknown citizens, some of whom may only recently be experiencing the effects. You see what I'm saying? So they sicken you, they poison you, you can't get health care. You know, I mean, it's dude, any other population of people would have just murdered these people the fuck off. That January 6th shit would have looked like a carnival, you know, or a play date for children or something. The level of what has been done and is being done to us, that place would have been rubble, dust. Besides the zinc bullshit, recent or revelations by researchers and the army established that other toxins were distributed as part of the operation, including uh, Serratia mac, some $50,000 word you got to mortgage the house to say, a bacteria linked to hospital infection, Bacillus globigi, a biological warfare stimulant, Bacillus something used to treat urinary tract disease, and something else which causes disease in those with autoimmune disorders. You see what I'm saying? You don't trust these people for shit. And then they come at us and now they want to be surprised and shocked and try to condemn any African people that wouldn't trust their bitch ass for this shit they trying to put forth now. Kiss my entire ass. It has been said that only, how much is left, y'all, because the time is running out. The ancestors of martial arts. Because this is about to cut off on me. Where was I? Autoimmune disorders. It has been said that only inevitable things in life are death and taxes, but with enough money to hire creative accountants and crooked tax lawyers, even the latter might be. This is still part of it? No, this ain't part of it. From ancient Greece and blah, blah, blah. Crushing him in his bed, blah. This is not even connected. Okay, we're done with that article. It ends on autoimmune disorders. So this is diabolical, everybody. And I thought it important to bring this. I don't know what made me aware of it. There was something I think I was watching and somebody mentioned something or something. And I immediately looked it up. And I think it was a couple of days ago. And by the way, this article is from 11th September or 17th September 2017. Yeah, 17th September. Anyways, we don't have any reason to trust these people, everybody. And we don't need to make any apology for that. And we don't need to explain ourselves at all. At all. White people know what they have done and continue to do to us. Certainly the government knows, even if the everyday bitch next door may not. But until we take our last breath, we don't trust these people for any fucking thing. They have massacred us. They have bombed us from the sky. They have taken our land. They have fucking lynched us. They have poisoned even the fucking water in Flint, Michigan is still some bullshit. Take that shit down the street. There'll be no approaching black people for any fucking thing. Period. The damn end. And we need to remain firm on that. I want to talk more about this in our next live, everybody. I've got some phone calls to make today. And I'm expecting some phone calls. So, and today is Sunday. So, maybe we'll be live later on. We will see. If you follow me on Jedi Africa, there is a new live stream up that we did the other night. And you need to go and watch that. But I'm going to leave it here. I'll see you soon.